I start the drawing the same way, pretty much every time. Like, it doesn't matter to me if it's a 20-minute pose, if it's a 2-minute pose. I really enjoy getting everything blocked in the same way. So you don't say to yourself, oh, I got more time, I'm going to draw differently. No, don't do that. I always like to start with the nose, because I just find if you go from top to bottom on a face, it's actually tougher because something always goes wonky with the proportions. And again, remember, I'm just approximating. Like, I'm not trying to nail it. I'm just trying to put something down so I can change it. Let's get the middle line of the lip. He's got a lot of facial hair, so that's sort of messing with me a little bit. That's tricky. You got to give him his cheekbones back. Cheekbones are really helpful. A lot of people tend to start portraits with the eyes first, which makes sense to me because I think for a lot of people, the eyes are really what they connect to. But the thing is, the eyes are not very important in terms of like the mass of the face. And so I actually find it much easier to start with the overall shape. A lot of people do that, but I just find it's not very useful. Now what I'm going to do, I need to do a little bit more on the eyes. I like putting in just the eye sockets, but it is good to get in. At the very least, with the eye, I like to put in the upper lid. The upper lid is more important, and then definitely some of the eyebrows. Do you see how this eye is too high? Let's move that down. And of course, one is like too big, but that's fine. You have to mess things up before you get them to where you want them to be. And that's okay. It really is. Your drawing has to look kind of crappy for a long time before you make it look better. And that's okay. Don't feel like it has to be really good. Like, do you guys ever feel that way when you draw that you're like, it's got to be real good or I'm a terrible person? Don't think about it that way. Just have fun. Drawing can be hard. I definitely acknowledge that, but it should be fun. Like, even if you're having a hard time, you know what I like about drawing? Tell me what you guys like about drawing, because for me, when I draw, it's like I forget about all my problems. That's a little bit intense for the morning, but it's true. You forget about real life and you just get sucked into this incredible place. So I like drawing for that reason. I also think that drawing slows me down. I don't feel like I'm in such a rush all the time. I think people draw for different reasons, but for me, a big part of it is just going to a different place where things are slower. I don't have to feel pressure. I just have fun with it. Who else forgot the facial hair? Me. Definitely me. This is what I like to call the rug of tone. What I'm putting down right now. If you were to move into a new apartment, you got to put in the rug first, right? Like, if you try to put in the chairs and then you try to put in the rug underneath, you're not going to have a good time. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just rolling out a big rug of tone just to get in the darkness. Like, the hair is really cool. He's got amazing hair. Just want to get the tone in, and then once that's in, I'll go back in with some lines. I think the nose might be too long, but don't sweat it. Don't say to yourself when you're drawing, does it look like him? Oh, it doesn't look like him. Just relax, just approximate, and see what happens. Now I'm going to start pulling out the eye, and he's got like this cool brow. Did you guys see the little like wrinkle in between his eyes? I like to put in the nostrils just as a landmark. I don't know, a lot of people don't like to draw nostrils. Nostrils are important. They really play a big role in terms of defining the features. The eyelids are so important. A lot of people, they just like trace the eye. You really want to show the shape of that. You know what I like about the Robert Mapplethorpe photos is I like that he draws like real people. A lot of people like to use Pinterest. Pinterest isn't great because, I don't know, everybody's so glossy. That's fine, but I just like drawing real people. I like drawing people that have flaws, people that are not perfect looking, people that aren't coated in makeup. And that's what I like about using these photos, is like, this guy's real. I made the hair way too small, and so now I'm paying for it, which is okay. That's fine. But yeah, that happens a lot. You have to change your drawing. I would be shocked if you didn't have to change your drawing a lot. That's just kind of the way it is. Don't worry about that. There's this like really dark black on this side. And here too, like I'm starting to pull out more contrast. I just want to block in the rest of the hair, and then I'm really going to get into the facial features. I think a lot of the times if you don't put the hair in, the face sort of feels like it's floating. Oh, the facial hair at the bottom, that's pretty important. What's cool about this pencil, there's no wood. So this is called a woodless pencil, like it's all lead. You can draw with the flat side of it, and it's really good for putting in tones. I'm drawing with the side. I'm not drawing like this. I find if you draw like this, it's very tight. So if I hold the pencil like this, then I can get in bigger areas a lot faster. Let's get in here, and I'm going to start accentuating some of the darker passages so that he looks a little bit less mushy. Try to draw the skull. Everybody has a skull. I hope you do. If you put in the skull, it'll make the face feel a little bit more structured, because if you don't do that, the face can look very mushy, and you don't want that. You want it to have more structure. So here I'm going to really dig in hard. This particular part of the hair is pretty dramatic, and actually here too. So now I'm really going to dig in because I want contrast. You're not going to nail it the first time. You're not going to get things the way you want them to be. You just have to approximate and, keep your fingers crossed. Okay, I think it's really time to work on these eyes. You'll notice I'm going to change my pencil grip because for a while I was doing this, but actually what I'd like to do now, I got to do a little more forehead, not quite ready yet. Now for the eyes, I am going to use more like a writing grip. I need a little bit more control. Hold the pencil however you want. Like, it doesn't matter to me, but it helps me, I think, loosen up a little bit. So let's get in the eyelids. His eyelids are pretty pronounced. They're pretty dark. The reason I can do that confidently is because I had everything pretty well blocked in. I was going to say I thought that the eyebrow was too close to the eye, but I actually don't think that's the case. Notice also the eyelids, like this one comes down and then it goes across things like the lower eyelid and the bags under the eyes. They're pretty important. Like, they show the character of the person. Okay, this is going to be hard because he's got long hair and he has facial hair. So this is sort of a lot to handle. Let's get this more pronounced. My drawing's getting really smudgy. Maybe a little bit more on this side. Maybe just define the lower lid a little bit better. Oh, I lost his brow. He's got a great brow. So I'm just going to take some time, push that in, move that up. Okay, I'm getting into it now. In the beginning, I don't know, I'm not awake yet, haven't really gotten into it. Tell me if you guys feel like looser, if you're feeling like your drawing's getting a little bit easier, or tell me if you're struggling. If you're having a tough time and you're like, ugh, this is hard, that's fine too. You don't have to feel better. It's okay. Drawing's hard. It's a leap of faith every time you draw. It's a lot of work. Okay, but it's fun work. I love it. I'm sort of losing his facial hair, so I'm going in and I'm just beefing that up a little bit. And especially here, I sort of lost, I did it again. I totally lost the chin. Okay, more facial hair, and I lost the lip from all the shading. So I'm going to bring this in, maybe redefine. I think I might have made the lower lip a little bit too small. Little skin wrinkles that are on his lip. That's pretty important because that gives the lip more texture. He looks way better than I'm drawing him. That's okay. Here, I'm going to just put in some of the highlights. I'll just draw a little circle here. This is an eraser stick, and it's really good if you want to pull out a really bright highlight. Let's bring it all the way down. Oh my God. Guys, I suck at chins. I am so crappy at that. Even more. Half this guy's form is his hair. His hair is so important. This looks like the edge, but it's not. This is the edge of his facial hair. So I guess I need to like darken that area because otherwise it's like well, I don't know. This whole area is really dark. Some more definition on the eyes. I think the eyes might be too big actually, but whatever, I'll fix it later. Pupils might be a little bit too big. I'm not trying to make this look just like him. Like, I'm just trying to use it as a reference and I'm trying to have fun. And so don't bother yourself. Don't be like, oh no, it doesn't look like him. You're doing a drawing, you're learning. That's the most important thing. I don't care if it doesn't look like him. Oh, he needs more hair on this side. I just want to fill that in. So that, oh, and shoulders too. Over here on the little bottom section, I just don't want him to be like a floating head. I think that's weird looking. Put in a little bit more of the neck. I sort of ignored the neck for too long and now I'm paying for it, so. I'm gonna take my kneaded eraser and I'm gonna start to lift some of the highlights in the face because everybody see my drawings like really smudgy, all smeary and stuff. And you know something, some people like to smudge with a pencil and that's fine. I don't like to smudge so much because I feel like it gets too messy. But I do find that if I use the eraser to smudge, I do get more control. Shoot, I need a little bit more tone up here, sorry. A little bit more tone. Because the thing is you have to put like a certain amount of pencil. Like if you don't have enough pencil on the page, you won't be able to pull out the highlights. So you take your kneaded eraser and I just start like pulling out highlights like he's got back there and up here. So the kneaded eraser, it's like you're smudging, but you can control it better. Because I find when I smudge with my hand, things just get really messy really fast. And so I really enjoy the kneaded eraser because you can almost like sculpt it. And then it's great for stuff like here, like see, this is like a really bright highlight that's starting to happen. There's a really bright highlight here. And then there's another highlight here, more on this side. Like, isn't that fun? More of the right side of the face has highlights. Okay, so I'm not gonna put the highlights on the left-hand side. So on the lip, the highlights are smaller, and that's why this eraser pencil is really nice, because sometimes I don't want it to be like that pronounced. More highlights on the lip. This little highlight on the chin. See this? I didn't pull out, there's like a really bright highlight here. And if I connect that, I really want to do a better job on these eyes and I want to do more smudging. So maybe just a little more like delicate eraser work here would help. It's not as much erasing as it is pushing the eraser across the surface. Like that's more what it's like. A lot of people think erasers are just for getting rid of mistakes. And yeah, I mean, you can do that. Certainly that's an important part of it, but it's not everything. I think that erasers, at least the way I like to think about it, I think about erasers, it's like a drawing tool. Like it's similar to just like a pencil. I noticed that this side of it is a lot more substantial than I made it before. And there's also like texture. So I'm gonna start adding a little bit more surface to that. Let me pull out, because I feel like I lost his lip. Let's bring that back. Oh, you know what it is? The lower lip, you guys, it's like sharper. Does everybody see the bottom edge of the lip? He needs more shadow up here. Does everybody see? There's like a lot of shadow that's above the eye, because this is the eye socket. Okay, so if you really add more in there, it makes the eye feel like it's more in the face. There's like a really bright highlight on this side. And then let's redefine the eye. And then I guess there's a little bit more shading on this side. Yeah, I gotta darken this whole section over here. And let's like really go to town on his eyebrows. When I draw, I really build things up slowly. Like I don't make things black immediately. Like I take my time doing that because it helps me keep things more under control. Because if you make things too dark right away, it can be hard to handle. This whole area here is like so dark. So I really need to like punch up the contrast on this side and maybe like redefine some of the eyelids. Putting tone over lines, putting lines over tone. A lot of drawing is like that, where you're putting things over each other. I'm going to sharpen it. I take a razor blade and I just push it up like this, because actually I don't really like my pencil having such a sharp tip. I like it to be a little bit more blunt. You're going to like kill parts of the drawing, then you have to bring them back. And that's okay. I mean, that's just sort of the way it is. I want to give him a little more definition in the lip area. I think lips are hard. I think lips are, well, I don't know. They're all hard. More facial hair on this side. So if I bulk that up and then maybe a little bit more here, what I'm starting to do is to separate the hair from the beard, because the beard really is its own thing. His hairline, let's make it a little bit softer, because his hairline, it's like not that well defined. I'm sort of smudging the hairline so it feels a little bit less stiff. Like it's too abrupt. I want it to look a little softer. See down here in the beard, I'm not going to color it in. I'm just going to put like little patches of shading like this. And I'm going to start to add a little texture. Not a huge amount, but just a little something so that it doesn't get like mistaken for tone. So in here, guys, have fun with this. This is really fun. Look at this. Okay, so I'm just going to like go wacko here. Really get in some of those textures. Because that's the thing about the facial hair, is you don't want the facial hair to look smooth. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just like really blocking in, putting in the shading first, and then adding the facial hair on top of that. Because if you try to draw it hair by hair, you're gonna go crazy. Oh man, I'm losing his eyebrows. Shoot, who erased the eyebrows? I did. My daughter, when she was born, my second one, she had no eyebrows. She really looked so funny when she was a baby. Oh, he's got that intense look, staring into my soul. I love that. Oh man, I really need to give him hair. He's got no hair. Look at the direction of the hair. Does everybody see how the hair is going down? Really pushing in some of that texture, because I can see some of the hairs like coming out. If you have the tone down, you can mess around more, because it's easier to draw over this than to not do the tone and then try to color it in later. Here's where I start to draw a couple individual hairs, but honestly not that much. You don't want it to like get in the way. Lift some of them so they're not so dark. I am adding some individual hairs, but you can see I'm adding them like over the tone. So it's like it sinks into the drawing a lot better. Okay, so let's draw some individual hairs down here that come down like this. Does everybody see the hair? This is too dark. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I take my eraser. I'm just going to erase a couple of the hairs. They're not like too dark. If they're too dark, they don't tend to work so well. I don't want to do too much because this is a pretty shadowy area. If I take my eraser stick and I go in, you'll notice by the hairline that I'm making it not very sharp. It's pretty soft. He needs his bags. He needs the bags under his eyes. I am going to add like a couple individual hairs. Sometimes after I draw, I just like take a nap. I'm like, I can't do anything. But exhausting in a good way, you know, in that you feel like you've accomplished something, you feel like you've made progress, and that's all a good thing. Looking better, but I do want to do a little bit of smudging up here because I feel like it's not smooth enough. So I'm just going to block in. Yeah, he needs more of an intense brow. You're really layering. It's like you're putting one layer over another. Yeah, I got to bulk up. He just needs like stronger shadows on the left-hand side. Okay, everybody see this highlight that's underneath the eye? I think I might need to darken the area around it. Let's pull in the highlights because he's got like a really strong highlight that comes down the middle. There's this highlight that goes across, and there's like a really strong highlight there. A little hard to see. Maybe I need to go in and sharpen this. Oh, I gotta work on his mustache. Needs more work. Okay, let's just give it I think it needs texture. Like, I don't have enough texture. When you draw, you're like on a roller coaster. I really feel like that. I'm like, I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it. Like, a lot of people, I think, they think that when they draw, it has to get better, 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 better. But it's rarely like that. I don't think drawing is like that at all. I think most of the time, it's a total roller coaster. Or maybe if I accentuate the lip, maybe if I bring the lip out more and make it stronger, more on the eyelid. Oh, you know what? I missed the shadow. Does everybody see the shadow here? That's why it was like too bright before. Yeah, see, that happens a lot. Like, you draw for a little while and then all of a sudden you lose your highlights. You have to like go back in and resurrect them. His beard sort of comes down a little. I don't know. I feel like this side is a little too coarse. I want to smooth it out a little. Maybe some darkness to get his hair more dramatic on this side. Do a little smudging here or there. This area here, it's sharper than I made it. And also there's an indentation where you can see his cheekbone coming out. So I want that to be harsher.